WJEC Criminology is a Level 3 applied diploma. An applied diploma means that there is some element of coursework, which is also referred to as a controlled assessment. So similarly to coursework, you will be able to type up your written work in response to a number of questions. However, in those conditions, you will have to be in silence, similar to an exam. The control assessment is for 8 hours, and that's split for 3 hours and 5 hours, and you will be given a number of questions that you have to answer. It's out of 100 marks, and you're allowed to have your folder to be able to answer those questions. You must refer to a brief, which you will be given in your controlled assessment. A brief is just a scenario about a given crime that you have to apply your questions to. So what you'll be learning in Unit 1, which is your controlled assessment, you will learn about different types of crime with some different examples, looking at real life cases of crime as well. You'll look at different reasons. So why is it that people commit those types of crime? What are the consequences of crime? So if you commit a certain crime, then what consequence or what sort of punishment can you receive for that crime? But also we'll be looking at the impact of society and how that impacts on them as well. We'll look at the influence of the media and how that influences our perception of crime and the response to crime by the police. We'll also look at campaigns to change, and you will have a go at being able to create your own campaign about a given crime as well. Unit 2 refers to your exam, which is called Criminological Theories. So we'll start by looking at the definition and some examples of crime, and the definition and examples of deviance as well. We'll define social construction and how that leads to different types of crimes being labelled and how that influences our response to crimes as well. Theories of crime refers to reasons why people commit crime. So we'll look at the biological explanations, individualistic explanations, and sociological reasons as well. We'll look at different studies involved in each of those explanations, and we'll be evaluating them as well. So how good are they at being able to tell us why people commit crime, and are they useful in being able to reduce crime as well? Situations of criminality. So again, we'll look at some famous crimes, famous criminals, and be able to explain why they committed those crimes in order, being able to explain why they committed those crimes using those explanations as well. Policymaking refers to our understanding of why people commit those crimes and being able to explain how we can then prevent that crime from taking place. Unit 1 and Unit 2 is what you will be studying in Year 12. And if at the end of Year 12 you decide that criminology, maybe it's not for you, it's not sort of something that you will be able to use in the future once you've finished your A-levels. So you might then want to cash in those grades, which are equivalent to UCAS points. If you decide to carry on with criminology into Year 13, then you will be studying Unit 3 and Unit 4. So Unit 3, again, is your controlled assessment. In Unit 3, you'll be looking at who is involved in criminal investigations. So who is the personnel that are involved? Why are they effective in the criminal investigation? You'll look at the techniques used. So we will cover different investigative techniques. Again, why are they useful to criminal investigations, and in which types of crimes and situations of crime are they most effective? How is evidence processed? So we'll look at lots of different types of evidence, so physical evidence and testimonial evidence, and be able to explain what is the process, all from the collection right the way to the analysis to when that evidence is presented in court. Now, the rights of an individual is something else that we will be covering. So we'll be focusing on what are the rights of a suspect, what are the rights of a victim and a witness as well. In that section, we'll be referring to different types of legislation to understand why they're entitled to those rights. In Unit 3, we'll also be covering the trials and evidence, so who is involved in a trial process. Again, looking at examining the validity of evidence and what means that we can trust the evidence that's presented. We'll also look at juries and magistrates and how they make up those different groups and how they influence the evidence that's being presented in court as well. Similarly to Unit 1, in Unit 3 you will have a brief which is a scenario that you will have to apply your answers to when you're typing up your coursework. Unit 4 is called Crime and Punishment. Now, this is known as a synoptic paper. So this exam paper will consist of questions that can be relating to everything that you've learned in your criminology course. You'll start off by looking at lawmaking, so how are new laws created, and what is the process that they must go through in order for them to be established as a law. We'll look at the criminal justice system, both in England and Wales, and explain what makes up the criminal justice system and how are they involved in the lawmaking process. We'll look at two different types of models. How do they approach crime, and which approach is more useful to explaining crime and solving crime as well. We'll look at social control, so what are the institutions that are involved in controlling society and reducing crime. And we'll also look at the aims and types of punishment. So what is the purpose of that, and is it a useful way of reducing crime? The roles and contributions of agencies refers to the roles of personnel that are involved and the agencies that are involved within the criminal justice system and how we punish individuals, so who is involved in that process as well. In terms of the resources then, there are an optional textbook that you can purchase. We will be able to point you in the right direction of purchasing one of those. So that is the WJEC Level 3 Applied Certificate and Diploma by Carol Henderson. There's also an optional revision guide that you can purchase to help you with your studies. We always promote wider reading. Again, we can point you in the direction of some wider reading, but just a general interest and a general awareness of crime that's going on, how laws are changing, and being able to describe a number of famous criminal cases will help you with this course as well. We do have an active Twitter account where we will post updated sort of news articles and events that are relevant to you. We also have a website with all of the information that you need for the course from Unit 1 all the way through to Unit 4. Now, depending on the class that you're in, you will be put into your own Microsoft Teams page. All of the lessons and resources will be available to you, so you can follow along in the lesson and catch up on any work that you might have missed, or just have another read through the lesson if there's anything that you want to go over. Entry requirements for this course. You will need to have a 4 in maths and a 4 in English, as answering those questions in your exam and being able to structure your coursework / control assessment is something that will require you to use those English skills. A genuine interest in crime and criminology is always something that's really useful. Having an awareness, as I've already mentioned, of famous crimes and famous criminal cases will help you when it comes to drawing on those examples to answer the questions for both your criminology exam and your controlled assessment. Perhaps if you didn't get the entry requirements to go to do psychology or sociology, there is a lot of overlap with those subjects. So if it is that you still want to carry on with psychology, but you don't quite have the entry grades for that, then we suggest that criminology might be of interest to you, as some of those topics overlap as well. Now, this course does give you equivalent UCAS points, so it is accredited by university, which is a common question that we do get asked. It's graded from A to E, and depending on your grade, you will receive a certain amount of UCAS points, which can then add towards your overall A levels. Final bit of information is some faculty information, so who will be your teachers. Miss Ingram, who is the head of criminology, Miss Kuma and myself, Miss Allen, so we are all teachers of criminology. If you do have any further questions that haven't been covered in this presentation, then please feel free to email any of us and we'll be able to point you in the right directions